Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Take a look at the GROTECTION gauge to start. Three green arrows for the leaders, short term, medium term, all acting quite well. And then long term, this is our 200-day moving average. That is a yellow sub arrow. Just continue to monitor that to slope back up more and get that fully stacked moving average alignment in place. Take a look at the market state. We are in an uptrend still from those subsequent fall through days that occurred on the 22nd and the 23rd. So what happened today? Kind of a stall day. The S&P was relatively basically unchanged from yesterday with the same exact close. Minor intraday volatility, but overall, still trying to break out from that cup and handle that we mentioned yesterday. And then still, couple negative points on the economic data front today, and then continued trade uncertainties, steel and aluminum tariffs. So that continues to put a little bit of a drag on the market for now. But here are the final numbers. 21 over 21 list up 0.45%, 11 green, 10 red. CoreWeave, again, the standout on that list. And that stock's a perfect example of you never know how high something can go. Big 8 up 0.46%, RG8 flat, S&P flat, Equal 8 down 0.22%, Tech up 0.28%, Equal 8 up 0.26%, Dow Jones Industrial Average down 0.27%, mid caps down 0.23, Russell 2000 down 0.28%, 60/40 stock and bond up 0.30%, flagship portfolio GROTECTION up 0.05%, and then TURBO-10 down 0.34% on the day. As always, let's get into the inter-asset correlation. And we will start with the chart of the S&P 500 as usual. And like I kind of mentioned, a little bit of a stall day today with the same exact close as Tuesday. But again, still lean to the bull side. We've been talking about this handle on the S&P 500. Big move up, now starting to form the flag handle right under that 6,000 key spot. This still looks really good. So potentially just digesting, building up fuel to break through that 6,000 spot. What would make us bearish if this failed at 6,000 hard and rolled over back below the 21 and the 200-day moving average? But again, nothing to really complain about this chart. RSP looking good, holding above the 200-day as well, just kind of lacking some momentum. And it's definitely been a little bit more of a choppy market, definitely in leaders as well. And you could argue, after some of these big moves in the indexes and leaders that, a little bit of a rest makes perfect sense. And you might not just get those super explosive upside moves that we had been seeing. The Qs look great. Another higher high today, up 0.28%. And these ones look good. They look like they want to revisit these highs at 540.81. Mag 7, big tech looks good as well. Meta has been coming back to life. That's been showing some strength. Dow Jones Industrial Average just kind of trading in a range here at the 200-day moving average. Mid caps trying to build higher lows here and starting to flag a bit right here. Russell 2000. So, some of these, what would be positive for breadth is for, small caps to kind of get back into gear and get above the 200-day. And one thing to note is I read some stuff today and over the weekend that positioning in small caps is pretty low. And what we've seen in the past is when that positioning's super low and a lot of people are caught off sides, especially with small caps, you can see those super explosive bursts. So this one, 5 days up, super strong. So chart looks good, obviously a laggard, and that is just due to the fact that the best companies are going to be in the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So this really is, and if you're in the Russell 2000, once you become a lot better of a company, you just graduate into the S&P or the Nasdaq. So that is obviously the reason why this always lags. But again, for short-term trading, and sometimes this can provide some alpha. So, this one's got a pretty clear level here. If this can break out, maybe makes a run to the 200-day and breaks out. And that coincides with this really nice setup on ARC, which again tends to move with small caps as well. But again, this has got a really nice cut base, nice looking setup right here. FFTY leaders continuing to trend up the right side. VIX continues to cool off. Low volatility is the type of market that we want, so that is very good to see. Back below 20 and below 18, 17.61 was the close. Dollar looks like this wants to break lower as well. Again, super weak chart, big move down, and kind of breaking lower from this bear flag and rejected this 100 spot. Gold continued relative strength. This is hanging out at the highs. This again looks pretty good, although look, the relative strength line has been lagging. But gold kind of has been a bit of a hedge as well. When equities pull back, gold tends to rally. Gold stock, same thing, showing some relative strength at the highs here versus gold. Silver, this is starting to get into some gear. Obviously, the relative strength line, just a huge range for months on end now and has lagged gold, but pretty good chart setup, recent relative strength coming at the top of the base. So perhaps maybe if this breaks out, this might play some catch up to gold. Who knows? We'll see. Bitcoin sitting at the 21, very normal pullback for now. Even if this came, the 50 days coming back up, 50 days at, 53.84. Even if this hit the 50 day, it would still, it wouldn't feel great, but this chart still looks overall constructive. And after that big move up, this could just be, forming a handle right side of the base. Let's see. Bonds. Yields are down today. Bond prices up. BNB. See if this comes back into the 200 day. TLT again, same thing. Trying to hold these $85 lows, coming back up, and yields coming back up. Potentially failed breakout here, and in TNX as well. And this would also support the narrative for small caps start to run. And when yields really come off, you see the strength in small caps, regional banks, biotech, home builders, all of these like rate sensitive sectors. All right, that's the inter-asset correlation. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Alrighty, so let's see. Still operating on the bull case, trading above the 21, and some news. We obviously had that Meta CEG news earlier this week. Elon and Trump going back and forth yesterday, and then today we had ADP and ISM services. I'll take a look at my notes, and yeah, ADP employment was disappointing. Um, for May came in at 37,000 versus 115,000, and this was followed by a contractory reading on the ISM Services Manufacturing Index for May. And from my notes, key takeaway from the report is that it signaled a worrying mix of contraction and growth for the largest economic sector and a continuing increase in prices. That will be interpreted as a stagflation report. Um, so, negative economic news per se, but again, the market closed flat. So, and the Qs are up. So again, price is truth and the price action is what always matters. But again, we keep an eye on it. We take note, especially in this macro driven environment, news and staying up with the economic data is important because as we've seen, it can cause some pretty big swings in the market. All right, that's that. Today's keys. S&P versus that 15-day range, just broke out yesterday, unchanged close, so still green arrow there. And then the Qs versus that range as well, green arrow as well. And going into Thursday, we're going to be watching the same stuff. Day count up to 7 days above the 8 EMA, 29 days above the 21. Sectors wise, home builders, China, semiconductors, uranium, all strong today after that fade on some of the power generation names, after that morning catalyst, they kind of came back decent. And then weakness, energy, oil, Bitcoin as well. GROTECTION today, two trades, Trim Tesla and CRDO. That brought the RVAB to 1.46 and minus 5.01% open heat. And then TURBO-10 today, no trades on the day, 1.88 beta with 4.8% open heat. Bottom line, S&P stalls on continued trade uncertainties. Let's get into the charts. All right, we'll start with GROTECTION. Two trades today. Tesla closed right at the 21, and over the weekend, or is earlier this week, earlier this week, Elon said he's, coming back, putting his full focus to Tesla, sleeping at the office, and the market like that. And then obviously with the bill, there was some backlash, some headlines there, but so defensive trim on Tesla for GROTECTION, but closed right at the 21, and that's going to be a key level watching to the end of the week, and it's kind of this the low end of this base that it's been forming. And then CRDO, nice comeback today. Just trim partial ads on it. And then, this closed strong as well. Didn't close quite poorly on the earnings day. And then today coming right back up. And you can see this is what you want to see. And this closed but right around yesterday's open. So see if this can kind of follow through. And like we said, earnings gaps, there's so many ways to skin the cat. You can buy the day one gap. You can buy, sometimes they give undercuts like CRDO today. You can wait. It really is an art, not a science. And CRDO is a good example of that. So that was it. TURBO-10, no trades today. And then we'll go into the 21 over 21 list from leaders to losers. And one thing I want to mention, starting on Monday of next week, we are going to launch the Turbo 10. And what this is, we have our 21 over 21 list that we collaborate during the weekend as a team and make. And now we're adding the TURBO-10 10. And what this is going to be like 21 over 21 list, going to be our leaders list from broad sectors, broad industry groups, but it's going to be stocks that are under 200 million daily dollar volume and above the 50, $60 million range. Revere is a firm, we're over $250 million, but TURBO-10 is smaller. We can trade smaller stocks. And so we thought it would be quite cool to have another list is that some of the more smaller stocks that we're looking at that we're actively trading and have that list as well, track the stats. And especially, and this can also be good because some of these stocks morph into 100, 150 daily dollar volume traders as well. So it will be good for GROTECTION as well. And basically, what brought this to our attention is TURBO-10. We bought LEU on yesterday, and this one trades just about 879,000 shares a day, and this is in that threshold, a little bit too liquid for grow, but right at that 100 million daily dollar volume, but has a smaller float. But again, this one closed. This is kind of what gave us the idea, and then we'll get that rolling out on Monday. But while I have the chart up here, I'll just kind of talk about it. This is in that alternative energy complex. This one, relative strength line new highs, has a huge base, proven ability to make strong moves. This was in 2024 when it had that strong run up, and then it's just been in this big range, and now it's breaking out. Take a look at the weekly. Beautiful weekly chart, huge base in theme. So we'll see. Nice close on this one today, and hopefully this one can continue working. Alrighty, 21 over 21 list. CoreWeave, just, I mean, amazing. This one looks like it might make a run till 200. But starting to look a little bit parabolic. But again, this is a fresh IPO that came out of base. A lot of people have been trying to short this. But this is a freight train, another new high, trading huge volume, largest day of the whole entire run. So should be interesting how this fares in a month or so. APP, nice one. This is nice breakout through 400. There's some speculation that this one's going to get added into the S&P 500 on inclusion on Friday. We'll see. But again, really nice chart. This one's got awesome numbers moving forward as well. Spotify breaking out, really nice, back above 700. And this one has been, a leader, not the biggest outperformer, but relative strength line still trending up. Nice breakout there. Dutch Brothers getting tight right under this flat pivot here. Nice base. Netflix, another new high at that pivot plus 20. But again, great strength. This is why you want to trail your winners. Carvana, another new high. I believe this one also has speculation of getting added into the S&P 500 as well. But again, what a crazy stock. I was looking at this over the weekend, and it's hard to believe that this was a $3 stock just, in in 2023 as well. And this just shows unbelievable turnaround story. And this one just great prospect for or great one to study on stage analysis and how this move is played out. Duolingo consolidating at the highs after this earnings gap. This one again still looks good. Robinhood, another high today, another one that has some speculation. There was a note from, I believe it was Bank of America that listed some, they had APP Hood um, as potential S&P inclusion. Zscaler, another monster after this big base breakout, just continuing higher after this earnings. Even looked extended going into earnings, but nope, another gap. Day two higher high, day three higher high, and day four just right in that day three close zone. Nvidia looking really good. If Nvidia is going higher, the market's very likely going to go higher as well. Closed back above that 140 pivot and just coming up the right side of the chart getting that moving average alignment, looking good. Toast sitting at the 21, kind of flagging here. Nice base. As me, Amir Sport, sorry, another leisure recent earnings gap. Again, flagging at the highs, looks pretty good. Boeing, continuing higher after this 188 breakout, just kind of riding the moving averages higher. Chewy trending up to the right side, riding moving averages higher as well. GEV, again, in that power generation complex, sitting right at the highs, potentially finding some resistance at that 500 psychological level. Bitcoin at the 21. HIMS closed right at the 21 day and definitely a disappointing candle on that news and lower low today. But again, this is the nature of the stock. Know what you own. This is exactly why we have Revere volatility adjusted beta. So we can adjust our position sizes for the stock because 10% in Netflix is very different than 10% in HIMS. We've talked about this many times, but again, this one is just a very volatile stock. And, the highs on that news was 67. Today it closed at yeah, today closing, in the $53 range. So again, huge volatility, but again, nothing really wrong with the chart, just some elevated volatility on the news. Maybe this one just needs some more time to chill out, consolidate. It did have a big move from $30 all the way into almost 70. EQT Nat Gas name consolidating right under the highs. Palantir. This one had an undercut and reclaim of the eight today. Looked like it was breaking out yesterday, came back in, just kind of meandering at the highs right now. NRG, this is another power complex name flagging at the highs after this earnings gap. And then Tesla covered that. So that's the 21 over 21 list. We'll take a look at CrowdStrike. This one initially gapped down on earnings, but bounced right off the 21 and still looks decent. Sorry, throat's clogged up. But this one still looks good. I mean, cybersecurity stocks have been extremely strong, and this one again was just a little bit extended into earnings, pulled back to the 21, bounced, and yeah, if you see stocks gap down, this is kind of how you want to see them close. Potentially find support at a moving average or a support zone, but again, still looks pretty good. Um, all the leaders are still holding up pretty well. You have the indexes consolidating right under the 6,000 level. You had some bad economic news, and we didn't close red. You had more trade uncertainties, and again, we're holding up at the high. So the market continues to shrug off any bad news, and bulls continue to step up. So that is our thoughts on the market right now. And that is going to wrap it. As always, love to hear from you guys. My email is connor@revereasset.com, or you can reach out to me on X at connorjbates_. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. And if you guys enjoy these videos, give it a like, share, subscribe, comment. We really appreciate all the support. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, yep, reach out. So that is going to wrap it. Thank you guys for watching and have a great night.